Okay, let's take a look at question 14. It's a civil procedure question, and I really like this question. I love what the examiners do, and it shows you the importance of really paying attention. One of the things I say that if you don't pay attention to what they're doing, and if you don't read carefully, they'll spin you around like a top, and they'll literally send you out of that exam room with your tail between your legs. But there's a way to combat that. It's not too hard. It's just like slowly, methodically, and meticulously going through everything and really understanding what you're doing. And the great thing about this question is I almost missed it, but I'll show you how you can prevent missing certain questions. All right, let's go to the call of the question like we always do. First thing you always want to do is go to the call of the question. And it says, was removal proper? Now, what most people don't realize is removal is more likely than not, in most cases, removal is a disguised subject matter jurisdiction question. What I mean by that is, when you ask about removal, the question they're really asking is, does the federal court have jurisdiction to hear this case? And jurisdiction can be based on federal question or diversity. And sometimes they'll test the timing of it, but for the most part, they're testing whether or not there's subject matter jurisdiction. Now, this is a straight removal question. And also, like, just so you know, venue with corporations is disguised personal jurisdiction analysis, because venue is proper where a substantial part of the events occurred, and with a corporate defendant in any district where the defendant resides. You know, if all the defendants reside in the same state. Well, where does a corporate defendant reside? In any district that's subject to personal jurisdiction. So venue ends up being a disguised personal jurisdiction analysis. Most people aren't aware of that. So let's take a look at the top. We have question 14. A plaintiff, citizen of state A. So one of the things I do with Civ Pro, just to understand, like, I do a quick little like drawing, and I'm going to do it right here. There you go. That's what I do. Make it real simple. This way I can't really mess up. Sometimes, I mean, most of the time I do it. Let's go here. In fact, I'm kind of curious to know my notes, how I did them when I did this question 14. Yep. I absolutely made it, the plate. I did exactly the same thing. It's weird how I'm so patternized to do certain things because I've learned how to do them the right way. I've taught myself to make sure not to mess it up. Okay. Of a suited defendant, a citizen of B, perfect, in a state court in B. Okay. So, that's what I see. I notice the defendant, it's his home court. So the defendant's at home in state B. So he has no prejudice to prevent against. And I know he's not going to be able to remove based on diversity because he's what's called a local defendant. All right, and so there's no prejudice to protect against. The whole point of diversity jurisdiction is to prevent any type of local prejudice that the defendant might suffer. Well, if the defendant's a citizen of the forum state, where's the prejudice? He's got home court advantage. It's like if you're a Texas corporation, you have to defend in California. California residents are like, hey, we're not letting this Texas corporation run rampant on our citizens. We want to make sure we protect our own. And so they might be a little bit more biased or prejudiced, at least as the theory goes, against an out-of-state corporation. However, it's a California corporation. They're getting sued in California. We like them, so there's no prejudice to guard against. That's why he cannot remove to federal court based on diversity. Okay. The plaintiff asserted $120,000 under a state law claim. So we have a state law claim, no basis for a federal question. It's just clearly diversity. And even though there's diverse and the amount of controversies met, we got a local defendant. So that's not going to fly here. 50 days after service of the complaint. Well, removal is 30 days. And generally, you don't need to know, well, I shouldn't say that. There are certain dates you will need to know, amount of days. Removal is one of the basic ones, 30. There's about like 7 of them you probably need to know, like you have amendment as a matter of right within 21 days, 28 days to file like certain post-trial motions. I'm not going to go into all of them right now, but we'll go as we get each question. So 50 days after service of the complaint, the plaintiff amended the complaint. Well, they probably got leave of court because it's not automatic in the first 21 days. It is an automatic right, at least the first time. adding a second defendant, a citizen of state C, so we still have diversity. We have defendant 2, defendant 1, C. And that's exactly how I do it on the exam. I mean, there's no different what I'm doing now than I do on the exam. And I just keep it really, I don't, obviously I don't do this because I already know this, but I do this and kind of keep it really, I don't like to mess things up, and I need to see it sometimes. The amended complaint asserted a $120,000 state law claim and a related federal law claim against both defendants. So now, this is a state law plus federal claim. Well, the federal claim raises federal question jurisdiction. The state law claim falls under supplemental jurisdiction because it's related. And it does say here, and a related federal law claim. So because they're related, and all supplemental jurisdiction deals with is related claims. That's what supplemental jurisdiction, it deals with related claims. Okay. 25 days after service of the amended complaint, within the time frame, because it wouldn't be fair for D2 not to be able to remove if he has the opportunity just because D1 didn't file for it. Hey, D2 wasn't even in the suit. So as long as D2 comes within the 30 days and D1 consents, because they both have to be on the same page, it's removable. And we have a federal claim, so we have federal question jurisdiction. We also have diversity, but we wouldn't be able to remove it because he's a local defendant under diversity, but we can remove it under federal question. Okay, so here we go. The second defendant removed the action in federal court in B with the first defendant's consent, therefore no problem there. Was removal proper? Yes. Ironically, I almost missed the fact that they had the related federal claim and look at answer choice A. No, because the first defendant was a citizen of the forum state. That's the forum defendant rule, or also what I like to call the local defendant. Well, that would be correct answer. A would be the correct answer if this was solely based on diversity. But because of the addition of the federal claim, it is now removable even in state court B, because the rationale for federal question jurisdiction is federal courts are in a better position to understand federal law than state court judges, and therefore it's properly at home in a federal court. And so if it's based on federal question, we're not dealing with local prejudice. We're dealing with a federal judge dealing with federal law, and that's the more appropriate form. That's why it's removable under federal question. So the fact that we have a local defendant does not matter, and that's why A as an apple is incorrect. B, because the notice of removal was untimely. No, it would have been untimely if D1 tried to remove, but D2 got it within the 30 days. They're only 25 days later. B as in boy is out. C as in Charlie, because the amended complaint asserted a claim under federal law. And let's just say, and this is exactly what happened to me, and this is exactly why I do process elimination. I did select answer choice A. I don't know why. I'm like, I saw the local defendant thing, probably got a little excited, and I probably, after reading I probably missed the fact that, oh my gosh, there was a federal claim in there. I was like, oh yeah, they're removing under diversity, and I didn't process the fact that federal claim was there. Hey, everyone makes mistakes on the exam. No one's perfect. That's why no one's gotten a perfect score. But I'm not going to sit here and gloat that I got the highest score. I'm not going to do that. You sure you know that one on your own. Okay, so, but when I saw C as in Charlie, and I said the amended complaint asserted a claim under federal law, I'm like, wait a second, they did assert a claim on federal law. So by trying to eliminate answer choice C, I realized I can eliminate answer choice A, because this is not being removed under diversity. So by trying to eliminate C, I was able to eliminate A, and that made me see that C as in Charlie is probably going to be the correct answer. Still have to eliminate D as in dog, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost got tripped up. And this is how you prevent getting tripped up, by going through each explanation and going through each answer choice, and understanding why it's right or wrong. And if you look for why it's wrong, I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I was able to cross out A, because of C. Now, if I'd never gone to C as in Charlie and I just circled A as an apple and moved on, I would have never even have caught my mistake. You see why we do process elimination? And for those of you that still don't get it and think it's a waste of time, you know it's a waste of time? Waiting 6 months to take the next bar. That is the bigger waste of time in my opinion. D as in dog. The parties met the requirements for diversity. They did, but even though they met the requirements for diversity, under diversity it wouldn't be removable because D1 is a citizen of the state where the case was brought, and therefore it's going to be removed under federal claim. So D as in dog is wrong because even if it did not meet the requirements of diversity, it would still be removable. You see how all I have to do is just prove the inverse of the answer choice because it said the parties met the requirements for diversity. So they're saying it's removable because it was diversity. So the counter argument is, well, if it's removable because it's diversity, would it not be removable if there was no diversity? And the answer is in the negative because it still would be removable even if it wasn't diversity. So D as in dog does not solve the issue, and that's why I can cross it out. Notice what I did there. I took the inverse because it says it was removal. The removal was proper because there was diversity. So I want to ask the backwards of it. I want to say the inverse is, well, you're telling me it's removable because it was only removable because of diversity. Well, if there was no diversity, could I still remove it? And the answer is yes, and that's why D as in dog is wrong. And we got the right answer. That's how we do it, using process elimination, finding the inverse, and reading carefully.